In the spring of 1963, in rural Wyoming, two young men arrive at a small trailer office looking for work. One is Ennis a quiet ranch hand who lost both of his parents when he was young and has spent most of his life just trying to survive. The other is Jack Twist, a rodeo cowboy with bigger dreams and a restless energy that sets him apart. They are hired by a ranch foreman named Joe Aguirre to spend the summer herding sheep on the isolated slopes of Brokeback Mountain. The job is simple but brutal. One man must stay with the sheep at night in a small pup tent with no fire to protect them from coyotes, while the other remains at base camp cooking meals. At first, Jack takes the role of herder while Ennis stays at camp. But the commute between the camp and the herd is exhausting, so they eventually switch roles. Ennis heads up the mountain with the sheep, while Jack prepares meals at the camp below. For months, the two men live alone in the vast wilderness. With nothing but mountains around them, they slowly begin to talk. They drink whiskey by the fire, share stories about their lives, and a quiet friendship begins to grow between them. Ennis talks about his childhood. His parents died when he was young, leaving him and his siblings to fend for themselves. By 14, he was already working ranch jobs just to survive. Now he is engaged to a woman named Alma Beers and hopes that someday he might run his own ranch. Jack, on the other hand, dreams bigger. He wants to become one of the greatest rodeo cowboys alive. But beneath that confidence, both men carry the same thing: loneliness. As the summer continues, the sheep are moved farther into the mountains, stretching the distance between camp and herd even more. One freezing night, after hours of drinking and talking, Ennis decides it is too cold to make the long trek back to the sheep. The freezing air leaves him shivering outside the tent. Jack tells him to get inside before he freezes. What begins as simple warmth quickly becomes something neither of them expected. Inside that small tent on a freezing mountain night, the line between friendship and something deeper disappears. Both men give in to feelings they do not fully understand and are too afraid to name. From that moment on, their connection becomes powerful and impossible to ignore. But even as their relationship grows stronger, neither man is ready to face what it truly means. During one visit to the mountain, Joe Aguirre watches them through binoculars from a distance. He says nothing, but it is clear he understands exactly what is happening. By the end of the summer, tensions rise. Some of the sheep go missing, and Aguirre calls them down from the mountain earlier than expected. When he pays them, his cold expression says everything. The summer is over. Jack and Ennis say goodbye awkwardly, pretending their bond meant nothing. But once Jack drives away, Ennis stops beneath the bridge and collapses in grief, overwhelmed by emotions he has no words for. Life moves on. Ennis marries Alma, and the two take a modest honeymoon near the Montana border. Soon, they have 2 daughters, and Ennis works exhausting jobs as a ranch hand and on highway crews just to support his family. Jack returns the following summer, hoping to work for Aguirre again, but Aguirre refuses. He bluntly tells Jack that he already knows what happened on the mountain and that he will not be hiring either of them again. Eventually, Jack moves to Texas, where he continues competing in rodeo events. There, he meets and marries a rodeo queen named Lurene Newsom. She later gives birth to their son. However, Jack is never truly accepted by Lurene's wealthy father, who constantly looks down on him. Meanwhile, life grows harder for Ennis and Alma. With bills piling up, Alma has to work as well, juggling both her job and raising their daughters. The strain slowly begins to break their marriage. 4 years pass. Then one day, a postcard arrives. Jack Twist is coming to visit. When Jack finally shows up outside Ennis's apartment, the two men cannot hide their emotions anymore. Ennis runs to him, and their reunion is explosive. After years apart, they embrace and kiss passionately. Unfortunately, Alma witnesses everything from the doorway. From that moment on, the cracks in their marriage begin to spread. Jack and Ennis spend the night together at a motel, reliving the memories of Brokeback Mountain. Jack suggests something bold. He wants them to start a ranch together and finally build a life side by side. But Ennis immediately shuts the idea down. He tells Jack about something his father once showed him as a child, the mutilated body of a man who had been killed simply for being gay. That moment shaped Ennis forever. To him, a life with Jack is not just risky, it is deadly. So the only thing they can do is endure the distance between them. For years, Jack drives from Texas to Wyoming several times a year. They disappear together on what they call fishing trips. But the truth is, they are simply stealing a few days of happiness in a life that will never fully belong to them. Eventually, Alma confronts Ennis, their marriage collapses, and they divorce. Jack believes this might finally be their chance to build the life he always dreamed of, but Ennis still refuses, terrified of the violence he believes would follow them. The distance between them grows heavier with every passing year. Jack begins traveling to Mexico, searching for something to fill the emptiness that Ennis cannot. One Thanksgiving, Jack sits at the dinner table with Lorraine's wealthy family. When his father-in-law insists on controlling everything, even in Jack's own house, Jack finally snaps and puts him in his place. It is one of the few moments where Jack openly stands up for himself. Meanwhile, Ennis struggles through an uncomfortable dinner with Alma, her new husband, and their daughters. Alma finally confronts him directly about Jack, revealing she always knew the truth about those so-called fishing trips. Years later, Jack and Ennis reunite again, but their meetings are getting shorter and more painful. Jack desperately wants more from life, but Ennis feels trapped by poverty and responsibility. During one emotional argument, Jack finally explodes and says the words that define their entire relationship. "I wish I knew how to quit you." Not long after, Ennis sends Jack another postcard, but it comes back stamped with a single devastating word: deceased. Jack Twist is dead. Jack's wife claims he died in a tragic accident while changing a tire. But Ennis cannot shake the feeling that Jack was murdered by men who discovered the truth about him. The exact fate Ennis had feared all along. When Ennis visits Jack's parents in Wyoming, he discovers something that completely breaks him. Inside Jack's closet hang 2 old shirts from their summer on Brokeback Mountain. One of Jack's shirts is carefully wrapped around one of Ennis's, both stained with blood from a fight they once had. Jack had kept them together all those years, a quiet symbol of the love he never stopped holding on to. Ennis takes the shirts with him. Years later, he lives alone in a small trailer with almost nothing left in his life. The only things that remain are those 2 shirts and a postcard of Brokeback Mountain pinned to the wall. Sometimes Jack appears in his dreams, and every day, Ennis carries the weight of a love the world never allowed to exist, a love that lasted an entire lifetime. If this story broke your heart too, comment below and tell me the moment in the movie that hit you the hardest. And if you enjoy emotional movie recaps like this, make sure you subscribe for more powerful stories that stay with you long after the credits roll.